Good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight for this regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Socorro ISD. The date is December 17th, and we're calling the meeting to order at 6 p.m. If y'all will please stand to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance that is being led tonight by Audrey from Cactus Trails Elementary.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fantastic job, Audrey. Didn't she? And item number 3, superintendent's comments. Dr. Espinosa.
Yes, President Nájera, members of the board, our Team SISD elite leadership team just keeps getting better and better. It gives me great pride to welcome and to also recognize our new leaders who are with us tonight. So when I call your name, please stand to be recognized. Starting off with the new principal at Antoine Middle School, Ms. Patricia Fernandez. David Herrera, new principal at Sunridge Middle School. New assistant principal at Sanchez Middle, Ms. Ruby Rios. Also, Chester Jordan assistant principal, Ms. Monica Ruiz. And Ms. Romelia Aragon, new assistant director of athletic services.
I was about to pick on that one, man.
I'm seeing a pattern, though. Administrators right up front, somebody else way in the back. I think we're going to have to keep an eye on her.
Yes. Congratulations to all, and I'm 100% confident that you're going to have a tremendous impact in your new department and on your school community. Congratulations.
Awesome.
All right, so the holiday season is here, and it's my favorite time of year, and I want to thank all of our students for their outstanding performances tonight. I love to see our students perform. Let's give them a big round of applause for all the performances tonight. Also, and there's many of them in the room, I want to thank our amazing campus principals for their leadership in leading the pack as we help our students be well-rounded students. We work hard to help them achieve academically and go on to college, but tonight we saw how our students also excel in fine arts and how talented they are. So I always also want to thank our amazing teachers, our coaches, and mentors who are in the trenches inspiring our students to do their very best, just like we saw with all these performances tonight. So thank you. So as we enjoy our holiday break, which SISD will be closed for 2 weeks, please remember to do the following. Spend time, a quality time with your family and friends. During the school year, we're moving 100 miles an hour, and sometimes we neglect our loved ones. And the second thing, and I can see 3 board members already got started on this. Eat lots of tamales, and don't worry about any diets until after the holidays. All right. Also get a much deserved rest. I know how hard everybody here in Team SISD works. And remember, lastly, to give thanks, for our all of our blessings that we have in our lives. So on that note, I'd also like to thank our Board of Trustees for their continued support of our students and our amazing school district. So I'm personally very blessed to be part of Team SISD. So happy holidays to everyone. President Nájera, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Espinosa. Item number 4, board honors. Mr. Escobar.
Good evening, President Nájera, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Espinosa. My name is Daniel Escobar, Chief Communications Officer for the district, and it is my pleasure to introduce tonight's recognition. If you will please step down to receive our honorees. First, we will recognize Team SISD students whose work placed in the 2019 El Paso Community College K-12 Salute to the Arts exhibit. The goal of the EPCC art competition is to celebrate the creativity of students in our region. The SISD winning artists were selected out of more than 1,000 students across the city who entered the contest. Congratulations to the 2019 Salute to the Arts contest winners. Representing her student who won from El Dorado High School, teacher Ms. Candace Prince. From Hernando Middle School, Marissa McLean. Her teachers, Sergio Lopez. And from Americas High School, Joshua Valenzuela. Teacher, Leticia Luevanos. If we'll have you please return to the front for a photo with our superintendent and trustees. And just a quick note that the photos taken by our district photographer, Mr. Largo, will be posted on the district website where they're available for a free high-resolution download. Congratulations once again. And those photos, again, on the bottom right-hand corner of our district website, there is a camera icon. That's to our SmugMug account where all of the photos, again, taken by Mr. Largo are available for free high-resolution download. Our next recognition, we will honor SISD students and an employee who won the SISD Employee Health Clinic Art Contest. The contest invited students and employees to submit artwork with medical and a healthier Team SISD themes. The winning art pieces will be used to decorate the walls of the new health clinic, which is scheduled to open this spring. Congratulations go out to Kylie Stafford from John Drugan School. Congratulations as well to Alina Villalobos from Campestre Elementary School. Her teacher is Edith Miranda. From Desert Wind School, Anaís Sanchez. Her teacher is Karen Perez. From Puentes Middle School, Ivy Montelongo. Teacher is Karina Alvarez. Representing her student that won from Montwood High School, Karen Flores. Another winner from Montwood High School, Nadine Rodriguez. Her teacher is Abel Mendoza. From O'Shea Kelleher Elementary, Zoe Ortega. Her teacher, as well as our employee winner, Abril Govea. If we can have you all please return to the front for a photo. Maybe 2 on 2. Congratulations once again. Next, we recognize the winners of SISD's 2019 Winter Holiday Art Contest. Hundreds of students district-wide entered this year's contest. The artwork showcased their creativity and talent with colorful scenes and a nod to SISD's endless opportunities. The winners were featured in the Superintendent's Holiday Open House invitation, the SISD website, and social media sites. In addition, their entries were professionally framed and made into a holiday postcard. Congratulations to these winning student artists. From Jane A. Hambrick School, Lauren Oaxaca. Her teacher is Diana Lucero. From Lujan Chavez Elementary, Leila Vasquez. Her teacher is Abril Govea. From John Drugan School, Cristina Pan. The teacher is Laura Aragon. And from Socorro High School, Bella Barraza. Her teacher is Lourdes Aguilar. If you all please come to the front for a photo with our superintendent and trustees. Thank you. Keep your certificates up. Congratulations once again. Next, we recognize an SISD campus for winning the 2019 Superintendent's Holiday Cookie Challenge. This year's Holiday Cookie event challenged Team SISD schools to showcase their decorating talent and compete to see who was the best in decorating a giant 16-inch cookie. One elementary school was chosen to represent each feeder pattern. The school selected a group of students to decide on a design and decorations for their cookie with a theme of endless opportunities, with a holiday twist, of course. Congratulations to the talented cookie decorators and winners of the 2019 Superintendent Holiday Cookie Challenge, Cactus Trails Elementary School. Their team consists of Minaya Felix, Nayara Gonzalez, Audrey Wareke, Julie Ann Mann, and their parent, helper, and sponsor is Catherine Mann. With our final recognition for this evening, we recognize America's High School varsity football team for winning 1 6A district and 6A by-district championships. They ended their outstanding season with a district record of 5-0 and an overall record of 10-2. This team is comprised of incredible student athletes who showed focus, talent, athleticism, and a winning mentality throughout the season. Congratulations to the championship Trailblazers. Representing the team tonight are Evan Chisholm, Justin Matthews, Nethaín Sanchez, Alejandro Holguín, Xander Sepulveda, Chris Morales, Kevin Contreras, Dylan Kemp, coaching team, Bill Schmidt, Dewan Smith, Sam Holmes, Tracy Pace, Jared Gomez, Manny Padilla, Noel Robles, Oscar Mendoza, Jesus Lujan, and they're led by head coach Patrick Melton. Well, you guys check places.
Reverse.
Congratulations once again. He wants it on that. That concludes our recognitions for this evening. Thank you. It's usually on here.
What'd you do to it? Yeah, you did.
Okay, we will go ahead and continue with item number 5, which is open forum, and we have no one signed up to speak tonight. So item number 6 is Board of Trustees business. A report and announcement of board member continuing education credit hours. As required by the Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 61.1, I will announce the completed, deficit, and exceeded continuing education credits for each of our trustees. The following information is required to be reflected in the minutes of tonight's meeting and will be available for local media. Cynthia Ann Nájera exceeded requirements in tiers 1 and 3 and met requirements in tiers 2 and 4. Angelica Rodriguez met requirements in tiers 1, 2, and 4 and exceeded requirements in tier 3. Paul Guetta met requirements in tiers 1, 2, and 4 and exceeded requirements in tier 3. Gary Gondeta met requirements in tiers 1, 2, and 4 and exceeded requirements in tier 3. Paul Garcia exceeded requirements in tiers 1 and 3 and met requirements in tiers 2 and 4. Eduardo Mena exceeded requirements in tiers 1 and 3 and met requirements in tiers 2 and 4. And David Morales exceeded requirements in tiers 1 and 3 and met requirements in tiers 2 and 4. Completing the annual required continuing education is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member under the State Board of Education rule. And we will move on to item number 7, district reports. A, college readiness update. Ms. McBain.
Hi, good evening, Board President Nájera, Dr. Espinosa, and members of the board. This presentation is an update on college readiness.
I'm sorry, I apologize. That was, I swear that was for Mr. Mena.
Is that better or worse?
That's what he thinks he's me, man. Just walk right down the middle.
Try to sneak in, that's okay, we'll catch you every time.
We're the Santa Clauses for right now, so really super busy. I apologize.
All right,
I'm
thank
sorry,
you.
Ms. McBain. Go ahead.
Okay, this presentation is an update on college readiness. I wanted to start with some statistics from the U.S. Department of Labor, highlighting the more you learn, the more you earn. It reflects the median usual weekly earnings by educational attainment. So for example, an individual with a high school diploma and no college can expect a weekly salary of $730, while a bachelor's degree will typically earn about 40% more at $1,198 per week. And the earning power for each higher level of educational attainment increases from there. In addition, unemployment rates decrease with each higher level of educational attainment from 5.6 with lowest level of educational attainment to 1.6% at the highest level. This chart represents the success of our students graduating and enrolling immediately into college in the fall semester after high school graduation in Texas. Socorro is at 57.1% of graduates enrolling immediately into college. I added our other 2 large neighboring districts for comparison, with Isleta at 54.8 and El Paso at 54.2. Taking advanced or dual credit courses gives students an idea of what college coursework is like and helps to prepare and motivate them to continue their education at the post-secondary level, as well as save them some money. This chart compares the area large districts and the state with Socorro ISD. It shows the percent of students completing at least one advanced or dual credit course at the 11th or 12th grade level. Socorro ISD has an impressive 73.2% of students completing at least one dual credit IB or AP course in those grade levels. And finally, in order for students to enroll in dual credit courses, students must take and achieve a qualifying score on the Texas Success Initiative assessment. This chart shows a comparison of Socorro, El Paso ISD, Isleta ISD, and the state. The reading results are shown in blue. The math results are shown in orange, and students that have success on both subjects is shown in gray. Socorro leads the area, large school districts, and the overall state passing rates. Socorro administers the TSI assessment starting in 8th grade, so students have the ability to start dual credit coursework as early as their freshman year and continue to accrue credits throughout high school in preparation for college. So this is just a quick glimpse of some of the successes of Socorro ISD in the area of college readiness. Do you all have any questions?
No.
Thank you.
For me? Yes, yeah, just if you can go back to the first slide, Ms. McBain. And yes, and again, this is data that we received, and I was just so proud when I attended a collaborative meeting with involved the other districts, UTEP, EPCC, and where they showed the number of students attending college right after high school. And as you saw that other chart, Socorro leads the way and continues to lead the way. And one thing we're going to continue to emphasize to our amazing community, and I'm talking about students, parents, is the importance of continuing your education, because as you can see, I think when we see this chart here, you know, I think it opens our eyes that, you know, you would have a brighter future, you know, if you continue your education. As a matter of fact, we're doing a short video here that'll probably about 2-minute video that was going to be coming out on the holidays, stressing some of these charts. So can you go back to the other slide, 2 more slides, right there? And as you can see, here's the number, and again, our Operation College Bound. Without that, this would not be possible. You got, you know, our amazing teachers, principals. You got people like Mr. Kraft and Mr. Thomas, the entire team that continues to push our students to make sure that they continue their schooling, you know, while they're in high school, and then continue to further. And again, lastly, I want to say is that this would not be possible without the partnerships that we have with EPCC and also with UTEP. So thank you, Ms. McBain, for sharing this information.
Thank you, Ms. McBain.
Thank you.
Item 7B, Facilities Report. Mr. Angton. St. Nicholas. Well, I didn't either.
And some of y'all didn't up there.
I didn't either, but I had duties that I had to perform.
I know.
Judging cookie contest.
Okay. Good evening, President Naher, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board. My report begins on page 10 or 11 in your booklet. It has to do with the facility report. We will have a facility report, and then I'll break, ask y'all to come out and sit down, and then we're going to drop the big screen, and we're going to see some stuff on the SAC number 2 from our architects on that project. But I'll begin with the facility report that's in your manual. We've got Cactus Trails. It is completed. This past July. We are in the final contract stages as far as closing out the project, and we're looking to bring, similar to what we brought last month on Carrasco, a deductive change order, hopefully in January, if not in February for sure, and with a deductive change order for that particular project in the neighborhood of a little over $1 million. Numbers are we're still finalizing some of those numbers. Second project is the technology facility. It's not going to follow your book because the book was printed 10 days ago and we updated this. As y'all can see outside, we have construction started on the technology facility for our technology department. That project is moving. It's moving fast and furious. There's a lot of work going on. We had one little day of rain, but they were actually out there in that fog. You couldn't even see them out there working. So this project is moving. This is the artist or the architect's rendition of what the building will eventually look like. The project is underway. It's moving. We had our first draw, our application for payment on this project. We are continuing to work on it, still doing a lot of the site work and getting ready to start the foundation work, moving utilities and that type of stuff. So you see a lot of dirt work going on. It is expected to be completed contractually by November the 30th and final acceptance into the new year. So with the substantial completion in November, that means we can move in providing we get the CO, and I'll keep you posted on that. The next one is the auxiliary gym, the package number 1. Y'all approved that last month. We'll have the contract signed tonight, which y'all approved last month, and we'll start construction probably during the intersession. They'll start at 6 of those schools as far as potentially setting up some mobilization, fencing, and things at those 6 campuses, which are, and this is the floor plan that we are using for all 16 campuses. They are Benito Martinez, Ifida Chavez, Helen Ball, Luan Chavez, and O'Shea Keller, and Robert Ituarte. So I'll issue the notice to proceed as soon as the contracts are signed tonight, and it'll take 8 months to complete.
8 months.
The second phase is getting ready to be bid after we come back from the break, and hopefully in February we'll bring you a GMP or a competitive sale proposal for that, a bid, so y'all can act on that, and then we'll follow up with the package number 3. So with these schools and the 4 high schools that I even started talking about, we have roughly 11 projects under construction. With the 2 packages of the additional auxiliary gym, will be up to 21 projects under construction in early, after we come back, early spring, if not sooner. The next project is, of course, Socorro High School, the reconstruction of that campus. And you can see we've done a lot of demolition work. This is where the old auxiliary gym B sat, and you can see the auditorium on my left-hand side, which is that picture. The yellow portion down at the bottom is a temporary wall, and you can actually see the mural behind the glass on the upper floor. So all of this preparation is being done for the new construction, the new academic and offices and career and technology facilities and additional fine arts and athletic facility. This shows you kind of what the site looks like now. A lot of dirt work going on under phase 1. And phase 2 was bid out, and we received over 100 plus proposals on that, and we have awarded one for demolition and general conditions on this particular project. And the other phases on phase 2 will be coming in after the contractor, construction manager review those packages. So we're anticipating reviewing the rest of those proposals early January, February, and then construction will really start to begin to happen on the new construction for Socorro High School. And then, of course, it follows the same timelines. I've told y'all about 18 months it'll take to complete that major portion of the construction, the 3-story academic. And then after that is completed and accepted, we'll move all the rest of the students in, and then the rest of the buildings will then be demolished, and remaining construction begins on the rest of Socorro High School. Montwood High School, this is what it will look like in the front, facing Montwood Drive. All of this is the fine arts. To my right is the auditorium where the Rams logo is. To the left is the fine arts addition with a 2-story classroom addition on top, and this shows it a little bit better. It basically a new entry. That little pie shape is the new lobby area that goes into the courtyard. It is made with the new construction. We have already set up construction fencing in the front of the school to allow for the construction to begin on that. Phase 1 is actually coming to the end. We should close that out. I don't know if we'll totally close it out or if we'll roll it over into phase 2, but we're looking at a little over $200,000 in savings in phase 1. In phase 1 was the athletic or the sports sliding, and this is it completed in the evening for the softball and baseball fields.
Mr. Arrington,
Yes, sir.
on the previous slide of Montwood, there we go, thank you. The administration offices, will they be in that front part? Will they be moved?
They'll still be in that area that they are, but there'll be a interior court or interior connection from the lobby to that. There'll be a more direct access to that.
Okay. Okay.
The
So,
old-
but, I mean, they'll be directed so that we don't have visitors out anywhere in the
Right,
campus,
no,
right?
and the plan actually shows that pie shape is open, and there'll be kiosks and things set up in there as far as security and everything
Directing.
else, and directing. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
At the back, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Mr. Mena might jump on it, but we had a former board member,
Mr. Arrington.
big, tall guy.
Where are the basketball courts?
Don't know the guy.
He said there was too much white roof, on that, so.
Yeah, he'd have you out there with a can of green paint.
Yeah, anyway, I shouldn't have said that. But, okay, Montwood, it'll take about 2 years to complete everything at Montwood, so we're on schedule on that one. El Dorado, we had a pre-bid meeting actually today for the second phase. The sports lighting has been started at El Dorado, and the second phase, y'all approved the GMP back. I don't have it on there, but you've approved the GMP on El Dorado, and so they're bidding it out, and that we've actually staged and taken some of the site over at El Dorado, so that project is moving. Americas, this shows this is along in front of the auditorium. And it faces Peter Cooper, and this will be the fine arts additions that will actually come out and create a new facade for that side of the building. We've taken some of the parking away and created circulation. We've been working with all the administration, all 4 campuses, and working, doing our due diligence with them, setting up new traffic patterns. We've met with police services, Ms. Crosay and her staff, and Ms. Macias and the police services, and we're working with them as closely as possible, and think we have pretty much solved some of the issues. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but we're working with the staff and the administration on all of that. Americas, we will be hopefully bringing you a guaranteed maximum price. That's why you see a lot of to be determined dates until we get that guaranteed maximum price to you. They are working on the sports lighting, but we'll bring the remaining package to you hopefully early part of the January, February. The new combo school in the East Lake area. We had a meeting yesterday with the architect and looked at the site plan and how that is being developed. We gave them some directions to go meet with the developer, because as you're aware that it is, whoops, nope, I don't have the site plan. It fronts Bob Hope, the extension, or the new Bob Hope, and we have to honor some of the ins and out and the access to Bob Hope. So we want to make sure we are working with the developer on that, and so we've got a conceptual site plan, and we'll be meeting with the developer to review that with them as far as our egresses and ingresses off of Bob Hope and off of another, I can't remember the name of the street, something to do with airport, something flyaway, or that the elementary side will be entering in off of. That completes all of the bond projects, with the exception of the SAC 2, and I'll get to that in a minute, but I do want, in the facility committee last night, I do want to show some slides, because we were asked about timelines and addressing some tennis courts, basketball exterior courts, and I've got 3 projects up here, and you can see this is Waco, and you can see on my left what it looked like prior to what we've done in-house,
really good.
and through some bids and stuff, and we've come in and resurfaced Waco. This is just a little bit larger area. Mr. Carrasco and his team has done an excellent job on this. Next one is Benito. You see the cracks on that, and we've come in and done the same thing. We allow the administration to select the colors if they're not too far out and not any special runs, so we try to select standard colors and stuff, so in keeping with the school's color schemes. And then that's a little bit larger view of Benito Martinez. And this one really this is Helen Ball. We had a lot of issues there with separation and movement of the slab and the grade and the asphalt and concrete, and then we've come in and redone that
Nice.
in their colors.
I like that. Very cool. Very nice.
Okay, well, here's the site. This was should have been next to the combo school, but this is what I was talking about. They will, where it says Unit 7, that's a side street there. That will be the entrance as the conceptual drawing or the site plan we're working with to the middle school, to the elementary school, and then the middle school will come off of Bob Hope, and once we run it by the developer next month, I'll be able to show you more of a little bit better layout if everything comes together and they're in agreement with our access points and egress points. And of course, this, you've seen this before, the new SAC, the extension of Bob Hope, and then the future site of the combo number that we're calling East Lake feeder pattern. Okay, at this time, if any questions on this? If not, I would, any questions? I would actually like for y'all to come out to the front.
Mr. Arrington, I would like to say that the basketball and tennis courts that y'all worked on look absolutely amazing. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, if y'all would come up front, and then I'd have our architect come up. Okay. Oh, no, I won't. Yeah, we'll probably need some popcorn. Okay. About 2 months ago, y'all saw some slides and a presentation by HKS, Mark Vanderoe, and PSC, Park Hill Smith and Cooper Hector, and I've got Fred and Dustin up here in front. So they're going to walk you through, we've been looking at 30,000 feet, we're coming down, we got a concept. They'll walk you through some master planning where we stand today, and then they'll get into some floor plans, and then I'll leave it at that. But I think you're going to be pretty impressed with what you're going to see. And then I think we've got a little book to give you afterwards. We didn't want to give it to you before because I know you'll be sitting there looking at it. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Fred.
Thank you. I think I'm working off of this mic. Is this hot? Okay, good. All right, so hello again, everyone. Good evening. I'm Fred Ortiz with HKS, and very excited to be here again. I always enjoy this part of the project because at the end of schematic design, I feel like we've been throwing out a lot of really great images and very loose sketches. Well, I think things are finally starting to become a bit more solidified, and it's only the beginning, and it's going to get way more exciting. So we have a show to walk through, so please bear with me as we go through the plans. But so I want to start by saying that we're going to keep in mind, obviously, the 6 schools that we're representing that make up the district. I think I see a delay on this. It's not. Oh, oh, okay.
Can you also?
I'll use it as a pointer then. All right, go ahead and advance, please. Okay, so you all saw the aerial plan that Tom just showed, where it showed the parcels that we were working with adjacent to the SAC2. So essentially, the land that we're working with is here, and in the future, Bob Hope is going to extend on. There are natural features like the arroyo that moves through here, through the site. There's a lot of drop in topography. You have the existing aquatic center here, and of course, SAC 1. And the existing track, excuse me? Did you say something? No? I'm hearing things. So yeah, and the existing track and field throwing area. So we've spent a lot of time trying to reimagine this whole area, and the one other thing I didn't mention was that there is a lot of drop in topography. Even from here to here, things are sloping dramatically. So, and they continue on because obviously the water flows down to the arroyo and it's taken away. So, next image is an overall master plan. And I'm not going to sit here and go through all of these, but I just want to hit the highlights. So, as I mentioned, SAC 1, SAC 2, and its extents. Well, the beauty of this is that we've actually planned a beautiful space in between, something that's going to allow the district to have essentially 3 venues. They're all going to be gated independently, and the in-between is going to be sealed off with gates so that you will have control from one of the, depending on the event. The existing parking area that you see here will be supplemented by additional parking, essentially surrounding the entire set of venues with parking, so providing easy access with specific gateways all the way in. And it was really, really nice to make it out to the Montwood Americas game. I think it was for the district championship. And so we got to see sort of behind the scenes as to how all the buses and trucks and all that activity happens and how they take the field and take into the locker rooms and all that. But we literally walked and spent a lot of time there, so we learned a lot about how that works. And now we're trying to visualize that the same thing times 2 is going to happen. So we're zoning the site to where this is going to be your front yard, sort of back of house, supporting the 2. So for example, the tunnel that accesses the stadium at SAC 2 is here. I'm sorry, at SAC 1. At SAC 2, we're working a tunnel into this portion of the stadium, so allowing the bands to come in and access those areas. So the other features that we're studying as part of the master plan are potential for a practice field at this corner. So as you can see, it's like an awkward shaped site, and you're trying to fit rectangles in those areas as efficient as possible. You see the arroyo and its setbacks. We don't want to encroach on those because it'll create scheduling issues for us. There's also a maintenance building that we're looking at placing down at this end of the site. There's a lot of stormwater detention that we have to work in. So a lot of these big, call it big rocks, have to be placed in a really smart way to give you the highest functioning layout. So this one is titled Phase 1. So assuming that you don't do the extension of Bob Hope, and you do stay away from the arroyo, and you do only the things that are required to get SAC 2 up and running. Next. So during that game, or prior to the game, that Friday night, we were able to fly a drone, and we were able to capture the night imagery that you see here. So with our 3D modeling, we were able to take, in a very diagrammatic sense, the new stadium and placed it adjacent to SAC 1, and of course the amphitheater. So if you can visualize that stuff now, and I'll show you more detail in a second, but you see the elements, like the arroyo is kind of making its way back here, and here's the maintenance building, and Bob Hope and Joe Battle intersection. So you can see the level of activity, just being able to extend this sort of texture of vehicles and all the way around this when this whole thing is in full capacity. Next. And as we swing around to the northeast, so now we're hovering over the northeast corner of SAC 2. So again, here's the space in between, the highway, and so visualize the parking wrapping all around, so the support space for buses and trucks and all that will happen on the backside. Now we're hovering over the east. So essentially the two 50-yard lines are in alignment. Again, we're going to have parking here. There's going to be a gateway here, or video board, and so the space in between, again, is going to be very special and very flexible. So having done that, so what you see here is a 3D model that is a bit more realistic, and now we're adding, you can really get a sense of scale. So all this texture you see here, those are people. Okay, so all these little specks, so just for scale, and also look at the scale of a football field. And this amphitheater space is going to be almost as large as a football field. So it's going to allow the district to program and do so many different things there. So things that you see here are terracing. So, and because this is actually sunken, as I mentioned earlier, the topography is high here and it's sloping to the east. We also have Rattlesnake Hill. The other thing that we're looking to do is make a physical connection between SAC 1 into the amphitheater and onto SAC 2. So there's also things like a fire lane that needs to run through here. So in case of emergency, you'll be able to access that and the amphitheater. But each, at north and south, we have lay down curb space. So be able to pull in and drop off. In the case that there might be VIP access here, one can actually come in and access the elevator and get up into the hospitality suites. One more. So this is a view from the southeast. Again, Joe Battle is up here, Bob Hope, the main entrance, promenade coming in, and arrival at both ends. Any questions before I go on? Good? All right. So now, zeroing in or zooming into the two stadiums and the amphitheater. So I've pointed out a lot of those things, but I'm just going to quickly do. So the drop-off, there's a fence line that joins the existing SAC 1 condition here. It's going to come over. This is a footprint for the district building, so it's going to have its own entrance here. This is what we'll call the West Pavilion. All right, so you'll have concessions and toilets and all that, support space here. The East Pavilion will have a gateway right here, covered areas over concessions, access points, and then we'll have a 360-degree access around the entire venue. Okay? So quickly running through these. So these are just overall plans. So for reference, this is earth, right? So we're down below street level, and so we're at field level, and from there we'll access the lockers and support space and the fine arts area down below. Oh yes, so good point. So notice how in the early plans, north is up. So we've actually taken the plan and rotated it. So north is to the right now, just for orientation. So north and south. Here's a representation of the tunnel that's going to give you access to the field. And then everything is actually sloping up to the north, but it's also coming from high down to low. So naturally, that became an obvious spot for us to access the field. So then going up a level, all right, we've got the district building here with 3 significantly sized spaces that with partitions here that will allow this to read as one space with breakout, with concourse wrapping all the way around. You've got the East Pavilion here, West Pavilion there, and the amphitheater is just up off the page. So going up one level, this is the press and hospitality suite level. So film deck and everything from radio camera and all that happening on either side. Hospitality suite here with breakout terrace. This is the press area with another terrace breakout space. So this can also double as a hospitality space, depending on the event and how you plan to use it. So with a little bit more detail, obviously you can't read this, but as I mentioned earlier, and I'm just going to quickly say, so there's like training space, things that you can access right off the field easily. So imagine the buses dropping off the players. They'll make their way in here. They put their gear on and they get out. But there's wet areas in between here. There's the instrument repair and storage area. So there's a little receiving area. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to use this as sort of a loading dock scenario. But you've got art and music and things like that that are all working their way in. So this is zoned pretty cleanly. So everything here is fine arts, to that way is athletics. And as you move up a level to concourse level, these are the large assembly spaces. As you can see here, there's like at least 2,500 square feet per room. So we'll be able to seat at least about 500 people in one space. Much like this building here, we have this long corridor that's tall, and we'll have a clerestory, like on the second level, where the sunlight comes in. It's going to make it nice and vibrant. Earlier I mentioned the drop-off area at the south. You'll be able to come in, be received, and wait, and then before you actually access the office space. There's a break room, there's conference space that also doubled. So depending on how this is being used, this whole entire corridor can serve as a pre-function space. There's pantry down here and support things like toilets and things like that. But also you have access to a terrace out here that also offers great views back to the field. So moving to the west, the West Pavilion, you got toilets and concessions. Even rooms like this storage, we've learned about magnetometers and safety. So as a gateway, those pieces of equipment can get rolled out and actually be placed and stored and charged rather easily. So it's pretty much a mirror about this line. So you got concessions and toilets on either side. There is an elevator on this part of the building. So the board, say on game nights, can actually come in here and get up there to the upper level. Yep. So essentially I've already kind of gone through this, but there's your hospitality suite and terrace, which actually wraps around the back, which is going to allow you to engage whatever is happening in the amphitheater. And that happens on both sides. I don't know what he's doing over there. And then at the east, again, the 50-yard line. So there's a primary gated area, and as the grade rises up, so as you can imagine, handicap parking. So we're trying to minimize how much ramping we do. So if we place those individuals parking here, they can literally be somewhat on grade and go directly into the building, while others may be stepping up right here at the 50-yard line. And these concession areas are covered, so there's a simple frame that goes up and over to create that shaded experience. Okay, so now, I've showed you other views similar to this one. We literally have done the entire lap, so we're hovering over the north entry, like the Bob Hope is down here. So what I'd like to do now is maybe do a little fly-through. So that model that I spoke of earlier, we're able to actually fly around, which I think I may have teased you with something like that very early on with simple massings. Well, now we've taken the time to actually drop trees, people, cars, flags, video, and things like that on screens that hopefully will give you a really good sense of what we're actually trying to build here. So as the camera is going around, so we're at the south end now, right? So, and I apologize, this pixelation I think will settle down once we get a little closer, but you can still see, the drop-off areas at both north and south. The tunnel access down here. So here's the district building, East Pavilion, and the West Pavilion. There's the video board here. So disregard these little white nodes right here, okay? So just try to look through all that. Now, so Dustin's now going to try to fly us as if we were, approaching, okay? So now you get a sense of scale. Now, one really cool thing as part of this intro, in the early ideas, I had these vertical, I think I had three-dimensional logos, but we thought there's got to be a really nice and simple, somewhat artistic way to actually represent the 6 schools. So wouldn't it be cool if there were like steel, like rusted metal plates, and we can actually cut out the logos of each school, and at night, imagine at night, you can actually put lights here and they can actually illuminate up, be a really great visual receiver. So as part of that, there's a combination of walls and fencing that will keep one out, and very indigenous plantings. So here we are hovering at the north gateway. And by the way, this is that fire lane. So we're also keeping that in mind. So what you don't see here is that more than likely we would probably have some bollards right here that are removable. So in case of emergency, a fire truck can simply go from the parking area right in through this zone, and it can do it from the north and the south. Just for orientation, so this is your hospitality suite terrace, okay? And as you look to the right, you see that this amphitheater is going to have a sense of a sunken room. So all these walls and steps and all that are trying to address the fact that it is an outdoor space, okay? So what's really interesting too is that I understand that sometimes in the case of emergency, like the reunification effort, like this amphitheater, gives you access from the north and the south, and also, you can begin to leverage the entire space to begin zone it out by kids and age groups, right? And so it'll be nice and segregated and safe. The other thing about Rattlesnake, I mentioned earlier about wanting to create the separation. So this whole terracing effect, Dustin, can you I know it's kind of off script, but can you go and sit like right there? I just want to show how incredible your existing feature of Rattlesnake Hill, as we begin to cut into it and shape it, that, I mean, early on in concept studies, I was showing you how this large blank wall could be projected, and so the whole movie night thing or concert, imagine this being the concert band playing, and footage is being projected onto the wall up there. So even from back up here, it's going to be a great view. And just by the way, these 2 large trees here are existing, and those are the ones that have the hawk nests. So we have to like work around those and preserve those. So we're like doctors, we're like coming in here and making an incision that's going to like really open it up, and so we're also going to be adding a stair, I think, right? Yes, a stair that'll allow this press box to work much better. So I keep using the term topography, sloping down. So SAC 1 is going to sit much higher than SAC 2. So Dustin, another off-script request, can you go to that deck up here so we can see what it's going to look like from there? Yes.
Where's the water park going to go?
That's the aquatics.
Yeah, it's right off the page over here, I guess. Yeah, I know early thoughts was like this sort of, yeah, okay. We can do anything as long as we got the money, right? So anyways, I wanted to show you this view because it's pretty dramatic to where you can still see the back of phase 2, SAC 2. So yeah, let's keep going, Dustin. So as we move through this really simple connection, I think it opens the door to the amphitheater, and then, as I mentioned, large groups. So, and this place is so large that you could have a function at each hospitality terrace. You can have large groups here that are here for some specific gathering, or you could have music being played, to the right at a stage. And again, all these terraces are allowing us to maintain the concourse level and step down to the amphitheater level. And I mean, you can imagine and picture it with tents, and it could be arts festivals, music festivals, and the 3 venues. I mean, you could have 6, 8, 10 stages and allow the community to come in and literally just bounce around and take advantage of everything that you have to offer. So the one thing I want to point out is this gating scenario here. So let's say in the event that there is no football game, but you're having an event in the amphitheater. So these gates will slide, right? There's a pair here, and there's a pair on the other side, on the concourse side. So let's say there is no football game, so we're going to shut those back there, and we're going to leave these open. Therefore, the patrons can come in and access concessions and toilets. So if it was the inverse, you close these, and you've got a ticketed area at the north and south, and then now you open the other ones, and so it's like multi-use and highly functional, which is going to be really good for your flexibility. So now, as we move through these gates and into the main concourse, you start to see that it's going to take a different, it's going to be a different vibe and experience. So as soon as you come through the gates, you'll be able to access your food and drink at concessions. I know it's not Chico's, but there's pizza and hamburger and drinks and whatnot that they're offering there. And as you come through, I mean, right away you get the sense of the bowl coming down. And a very important thing that SAC 2 will have, or maybe it won't have, that SAC 1 does, is there is no track, right? So right away you're going to be that much closer to the action, okay? So we've got our video board, right? And again, we've got a 360-degree loop, so you'll be able to walk within the gated area behind the video board and around to the east and connect you to the district building. So the outdoor terrace, you've got the hospitality suite and all the press, right? And film deck right there, it's open. And it continues on, so you got the press area and with another breakout terrace here. And those are the sliding doors on this side. So now as we get to the in-between, the level changes, so we'll be stepping and ramping down. Now we're at the south end, right? So earlier I mentioned that there was a drop-off area here. So we got some modeling we still need to do and fix, but it would be much more level through here. So we'll be able to drop off, get off, move through a gate. And the other nice thing that this sets up is the front door to the district building. So, we have these large surfaces, so we think we can take advantage of this and begin to brand this and title it appropriately. And then, you've been seeing this very simple rectangular frame. Well, in between these two creates that front door into the district building. And here we have a secondary gate that will allow you to simply slip in through there. Or when you come in here, as I mentioned, it's a lot like what you have here in this building on the second floor. You come in, you're received, you can wait, and that's the access way into the office. Or if you keep moving in, this serves as a vestibule, but it controls whoever comes into this space. So we'll have natural light coming in from the south. We'll detail this as a light shelf so it'll illuminate it nicely. That's the connection to the terrace, and there's the pantry beyond. So this zone right here is a really, what I call a really smart zone, because it's calling attention to doors, it's setting up for storage, the pantry. So it's kind of a nice thickened condition that allows you to experience this. So once you move through these doors, you'll be immediately connected to the stadium. So this is a north-facing, full-height glass wall. As I mentioned earlier, these will be large partitions that slip out, right, and create 3 rooms. And then from this set of spaces, you can flow right out onto the terrace, right, and you'll be a part of the game. And of course, down below, we've got the team lockers, so they'll be coming out of these corners here and accessing the field, and the inflatables and all that experience can come in. Here's our tunnel, and here's our breakout space. So it's like a porch or patio that, depending on the climate, if it's a beautiful evening, I mean, that whole experience can flow out into here and be connected to whatever might be happening. And I know in previous meetings we talked about, hey, you could have your football banquet, and individuals are being honored. Well, their highlights can be playing on the video board. It can be pretty dramatic too. And then as we move to the north, again, the East Pavilion, this is probably the simplest building on the site, where it's got concessions and toilets. Again, covered area where you've got your concessions area, your gates are here. You keep seeing these things. These are handicap seating spaces reserved for them. And again, it's a 360-degree experience. We've got placeholders for flags, the video board, and I'm sure how we title this, and I don't know if there's going to be naming rights that are associated with this, but all of these things are just placeholders that I know are going to evolve as we get into design development. Any questions? No? Okay. So, all right, so the last thing I want to point out then is, as we move up into this terrace, and just, again, the notion of flexibility is very important to us. So, here you see people in business attire, right? So that might be the theme for this evening, or whatever function is going on in here. But the beauty is that it's connected to the field to the left, or it's also connected to what might be happening out here in the amphitheater. So it's pretty dramatic, pretty flexible. And then as you move inside, the thing may change, right? So it could be that you're in here, and it's tiered, similar to what you have right now. But this block right here are toilets, so you actually can come around in a very discreet way, get out of the traffic, and use the restroom. There's going to be an opportunity for chafing trays here. The TV, by the way, on the right, or TVs, this could be piping in the game at SAC 1, right? But the corners, we're showing something representing potentially smaller TVs that are showing what might be going on in the field or something else, depending on what the day is. And again, the views from this space are going to be pretty dramatic too. So, okay. So the one thing I want to move on to next, and I'm almost about done. So is hey, I got to show it off. We put a lot of work into this, and we're pretty excited about it. So when we were here for that game, it was a Friday night, and it actually brought back a lot of memories of when I used to run around on Friday nights. But it was at Urban High School, and it brought back so many memories. And I was very thankful for Tom, because it allowed us to literally walk everywhere. I mean, the locker rooms, and up in the press area, and the hospitality suite, but down on the sideline. So we did our best to create a handful of images that actually tried to merge what we're creating with that energy and experience that we think you are trying to create here. So there was a time, like at the beginning of the game, where the teams are taking the field, and so this part of the game, I mean, in context, I think you can see that it can be a very, very beautiful and exciting place. And then as we move around on the concourses, I mean, we did a 360 loop around the concourse, and just the activity, the people, the energy, the crowd, I mean, it was all great. So, this is also that space that could also double as a band shell. So imagine if the activity was to flip to the other side, and I mean, it's just so much potential. And then here we are. This is where I almost got run over when Americas took the field. But I was sitting there taking pictures, and it was exciting. But again, I mentioned the flexibility of inflatables. And again, this is where their lockers are and trainers and all that. So easily on and off the field, and even hinting at the emergency vehicle. I mean, those are things that we're being mindful of, and everything has to find a place so it all functions in a really nice way. And then I really enjoyed this part because we were like right at the corner, and I think Americas was about to score, but there's all this activity, that's going on here, and again, we're trying to be sensitive to all of that while still allowing the architecture to do what it needs to do. Is that you? I know you were pretty happy that night. And then the last of these images was, we were right there, right behind the football team, and I just saw that, there's the cheerleading and the crowd, and so I tried to SAC 1 is, much taller than this, right? So it's like, I had to race a lot of people, but it's like, it's a smaller scale, smaller venue, much closer to the field. Yeah. Yes, it'll be benches over concrete. So it'll be benched into the hillside, a lot like SAC 1, right? Yeah. So it'll be pretty flexible. We've decided that it's probably best that the bands be at the west and southeast corners. They're much closer to the tunnel, so they can get off the bus or truck and really move their equipment right in and across the field, not having to go all the way across to the other side. So that'll be an interesting dynamic. And then lastly, if there are no questions, I can just quickly talk about schedule. Good? Wow, I think I'm doing my job here because I must be answering all the questions as I'm presenting. That's good. All right, so really quick. So we are wrapping up schematic design. So we are right here in December 2019. So upon authorization to proceed into design development, we will work for 4 months. So come April, we'll probably do a similar presentation, unless Mr. Iington suggests that we come back and do an intermittent presentation to you all. But what you saw tonight would actually advance, right, and get a bit more detailed. And then eventually by, looks like April, May, we'll be beginning construction documents, preparing those drawings to get bid during a 3-month period. And then beginning of 2021, start construction for 20 months in hopes to be ready for the next season. And that's all I got.
Is that good? Did you have? Just wherever you normally have it. Right there. The board members and give them to the board for give him one.
Oh, there's the books we get to have now.
Oh, yay. I'm stealing Hershey's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. These are amazing.
I didn't see Craig Patton's statue anywhere.
That was at the
Oh, it's at Mountwood High School, right?
Montwood, yeah.
Yeah, we asked that we had a statue erected of Craig, but put it somewhere. Yeah, about that.
Okay, that completes it. I thank you for your indulgence in seeing that. We do have our work cut out. The schedule is pretty tight. We're looking into some budget numbers, and that's pretty tight also. So we're working on that, and if y'all have any questions, we'll answer them.
Any questions?
Beautiful.
It was, love seeing the presentation. It was absolutely beautiful. Dr. Espinosa.
Yes, wow, when we passed the bond in November of 2017, and that was on the agenda, that was part of it, you just visualize in your head, okay, it's gonna be another stadium. Let me tell you something, that what I saw today, and I think the trustees would have, that's a wow, that's that wow factor, and it's gonna be more like I said last time, more than just for football games, it's gonna be for different events. So I do want to thank Mr. Ortiz and his entire team. Hey, great job, and can't wait till the next presentation. Obviously, can't wait till it's done. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ike.
Thank you.
Item number 8, consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled?
Motion to approve?
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. Gondeta and a second by Ms. Rodriguez. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Item 9, new business. A, consider approval of proposed Socorro ISD boundary adjustments for the 2020 and 2021 school year. Ms. Macias.
Yes, President Nájera, Dr. Espinosa, members of the board, I'm here today to share with you some proposed boundary adjustments for the 2020-2021 school year. Every year what we do is we review our past, current, and future projected enrollment that is coming. I have Mr. Juan Jaime here with me, GIS coordinator. He knows that he's the numbers guy, and also have Ms. Jackie Gutierrez here, which is our interim transportation director. And today I'd like to share with you that we're right on schedule. However, as we have new homes coming in, they're ahead of schedule. So I wanted to make sure to bring these proposed adjustments. That way when families move into these areas with these new beautiful homes, they already know what campus they're going to attend. So with that, timeline started in November. Again, it's important to share information with all stakeholders, district, community, and board. And with that, I have the following proposed adjustments to share with you. In the Purple Heart area, we currently have an area called a Desert Sands subdivision. It is to the east of Loop 375, north of Montana. Currently, we have 2 families that live in the area. Spoke with both families and they completely understand. If you notice, we have 249 single-family homes under construction now. And for Purple Heart Elementary, we're currently at 881 enrollments. Projected capacity is 945. With the boundary changes we made last year, Paso del Norte is transitioning to an elementary. So we have available capacity at Paso del Norte, and that was always part of the plan, but again, they came a little sooner than we thought. So with that, our recommendation is to have this Desert Sands subdivision transition from Purple Heart Elementary to Paso del Norte Elementary. And with that, it would become in effect if approved in January. The next boundary recommendation that I have includes our John Drugan K-8 school. It is currently identified in blue. John Drugan K-8 is currently at 1,216 students. And what we have is we have an area which is a new northeast subdivision, 85 single-family units, which are up and coming. There is nobody that currently lives there. In previous years, you allowed us to do the transition, which is Sierra Vista. Sierra Vista's boundary initially started everything west of Loop 375. With the projected growth, what we did and available capacity at Sierra Vista is we transitioned our attendance boundary to transition east of Loop 375. So this area would just be an adjacent to. We have transportation already afforded. So as families move in, they would know that their new elementary campus is Sierra Vista Elementary, and middle school would be Clark Middle School. The other area that we have is below Pelicano. In that area, we have 385 single-family subdivisions coming. We have available capacity at Loma Verde Elementary. In previous adjustments, we allowed that area south of Pelicano to transition. We have transportation there. So they go to elementary at Loma Verde Elementary, and then they transition back to John Drugan for middle school. And that is an adjustment that has previously been made, and that way as families come and move in, they'll already know that their home campus is Loma Verde Elementary. And the blessing that we have is that all of our campuses are amazing. Once our parents get there, students get there, they don't want to move. So with these transitions, truly, they like the idea that once they move in, they know exactly what campus they're going to attend. The final adjustment that we're recommending is transitioning from Dr. Sue Shook to Loma Verde Elementary, and it is our new Chapel Hill apartments that are right here on Rojas. Again, there's no families currently living there yet, and we have a proposed 150 multi-family units that will be opening up soon. Our recommendation is for those students to attend Loma Verde Elementary, which is actually closer. We have transportation already in the area. And those are the 4 adjustments that I'm proposing, again, just for future growth. I will be back next year, November, same time, same place, maybe just a month earlier in November, to propose the new boundaries for the new elementary 31, and middle school 10. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Macias. We appreciate it.
At this time, I would recommend approval of the boundaries as
Motion to
presented.
approve.
Second that.
I have a motion by Mr. Gondeta and a second by Mr. Morales. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Macias. Item 9B, consider approval of CQC for construction material testing for Montwood High School Improvement Project. Mr. Inkton?
Yes, good evening again. On page 100, we have a proposal from CQC to do the material testing for Montwood High School. All construction projects require a third-party inspection. So we go out and off of our miscellaneous professional services listing, we select the firms to propose on the project. We usually continue with the same company that has done the testing as far as geotesting done. And so we have CQC did the borings out there at Montwood High School, so we are continuing with CQC as far as the construction material and third-party inspection. They have an estimated cost of $138,138.92 to complete the project. This is a kind of an estimate. It's not necessarily to be used totally. Yes, ma'am.
Mr.
And
Gondeta?
that's a standard cost, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay. Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Go ahead.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Mr. Gondeta and a second by Mr. Morales. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Inkton.
Thank you.
Item 10, executive session. The meeting is to be closed for consultation with legal counsel for discussion regarding possible exchange of real property between SISD and the County of El Paso, being a portion of Track 1A, Section 16, Block 79, Township 3, Texas and Pacific Railway Company surveys of El Paso County, Texas, and a ponding area being a portion of Section 16, Block 79, Township 3, Texas and Pacific Railway Company surveys El Paso County, Texas. Phew. Discussion and possible action regarding recommendation of administration to terminate the probationary contract of A.L., teacher at East Lake High School, for good cause, to discuss personnel and real estate matters, and to consider administrative recommendations for assistant principal positions at various campuses under Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074. We are adjourned. The time is 7:29. We are back in session. The time is 8:23. We will continue with item 11, new business A, discussion and possible action regarding proposed exchange of real property between SISD and the County of El Paso.
That's good enough.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We
included a rather lengthy agenda item, and our discussion in closed session revolved around the County of El Paso's request that the school district approve a swap, an exchange, without any actual payment of funds for a certain piece of property that the county wants to acquire. They had proposed exchanging and providing to the school district a piece of property that they own. We've reviewed that. I don't get the sense that the board is very excited about a general swap for the piece of property that the school district currently owns. And it's my belief, my understanding, that you would rather have Mr. Ianton go back to the county and ask about a straight sale and a purchase, whereby Socorro School District would sell to the County of El Paso the lot that they're inquiring about. If you're interested in doing that, we just need authority to be provided to Mr. Ianton to approach the county and discuss a possible sale for the exchange of that property rather than a swap.
So, Mr. Blanco, so would you need a motion to allow Mr. Ianton to continue those discussions? Or
Negotiations?
negotiations?
we don't
Or do you
technically
just need
need-
that from the president to give Mr. Ianton that authority?
We don't technically need a motion, but since we had it on here considering an exchange, I'd want to make it clear in case we end up doing a sale. So I would ask that you move to authorize Mr. Ianton to approach the county for a sale. Obviously, that sale would have to come back to the board and be approved in a later resolution.
I move to allow Mr. Ianton to talk to the County of El Paso regarding the sale of said property.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Mena. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Item 11B, discussion and possible action regarding recommendation of administration to terminate the probationary contract of AL teacher at Eastlake High School for good cause. Mr. Blanco?
Thank you. In the November board meeting, we brought to the district the recommendation of administration to propose the termination of AL, the teacher at Eastlake High School, for good cause, which we discussed at the last meeting. The teacher had the requisite period of time to file a notice of appeal for that proposed action. We actually agreed to an extension allowed under the Education Code of the time for an appeal. That extension expired yesterday. No appeal has been received. I spoke to the attorney that told me that she was representing the teacher, and as far as she knew, no appeal had been filed. So it's our understanding that no appeal will be pursued. With that, the board tonight can take final action, and what we will do is issue a notice that the board has actually acted on the recommendation, and a notice of termination will be issued by Human Resources and myself to the teacher terminating his contract for good cause. Once that's done, pay stops for that teacher as well. So we need a motion to authorize the administration to issue notice of the termination of AL's contract for good cause discussed with the board.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Mena and a second by Ms. Rodriguez. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Blanco. Item 11C, consider approval of administrative recommendations. Dr. Espinosa, first up, we have assistant principal position at Butler.
Yes, President Nahara, members of the board, the administration is pulling this item from the agenda.
Okay. Item C1B, Loma Verde.
Yes, President Nahara, members of the board, administration recommends Mr. Jeffrey Stevens to assume the roles and the responsibilities as the new assistant principal at Loma Verde Elementary.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Mena. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Item C1C, Mission Ridge Elementary.
Yes, President Nahara, members of the board, administration recommends Ms. Ana Lozano to assume all the roles and the responsibilities as the new assistant principal at Mission Ridge Elementary.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Mena. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Item C1D, Pebble Hills High School.
Yes, President Nahara, members of the board, administration recommends Mr. David Woods to assume all the roles and responsibilities as the new assistant principal at Pebble Hills High School.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a
Don't all
motion.
everybody speak at once.
I have a motion by Ms. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Mena. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Item C1E for Hernando Middle School.
Yes, President Nahara, members of the board, administration recommends Ms. Veronica Estrada to assume all the roles and responsibilities as assistant principal at Hernando Middle School.
I'm on a roll. Motion to approve.
Second.
Ooh, David's mixing it up. A motion by Ms. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Morales. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. And last but certainly not least, item C1F, Puentes Middle School.
Yes, President Nahara, members of the board, administration recommends Ms. Melissa Gardner to assume all the roles and the responsibilities as assistant principal at Puentes Middle School.
Motion to
approve. I beat you.
Beat you.
I beat you.
No, I didn't.
No.
We'll second that.
Oh, fine. Leave me out of that one.
I have a motion by Mr. Mena and a second by Mr. Morales. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. If there is no further business before this board, we are adjourned. The time is 8:30.